siya nagko-commit ng wala siyang ibang affair sa ibang babae or even mag-attempt na magkaroon ng affair sa ibang babae. Lalo na kung siya ay family man. No? Pero kung single siya, dapat siya ay nagpa-practice ng celibacy. Okay? So, yun po yung tinutukoy dito, ng husband of one wife. Ano pa sinabi? He must be, nasa na, nahula, lipad. Above reproach, husband of one wife, he must be what? What else? Sober-minded. Na, ang ibig sabihin ng sober-minded is being alert or level-headed. No? So, very self-explanatory naman yan. No, what else? Okay, sinabi din na siya ay dapat self-controlled. No? Na nabanggit doon sa fruit o nagpo-possess siya ng fruits of the Spirit na nabanggit in Galatians 5:22 to 23 na sinasabi, that the fruit of the Spirit is peace, love, joy, peace, long-suffering, gentleness, meekness, and so on. So, dapat meron siyang ganun. Okay? Hindi siya ill-tempered. Ay, nasa susunod pa pala yun. Okay? So, what else? Sabi dyan, he must also be respectable or hospitable. So, yung idea ng respectable dito is someone na ini-esteem mo talaga highly. And yung hospitable dyan na term is yung character ng Mediterranean people na kagaya natin mga Pilipino na siyempre, di ba yung pastor siya sabi sa definition kanina, siya yung nag-meet ng needs ng mga members of the church. So, kapag pumunta yung members of the church sa bahay niya, no, dapat i-possess niya yun, yung qualities ng pagiging hospitable. And sa verse, sa last part ng verse, sabi, he must be, ang pastor must be what? Aside from above reproach, husband of God, sober-minded, self-control, respectable, he must be able to teach. So, pagiging able to teach, it means the ability to communicate biblical truth. No? Na itong teaching na to, it can be both a gift, na sinabi sa Romans 12:7, and an ability na dapat nilang dinedevelop. Kaya yung mga pastor, no, dapat nag-aaral talaga sila. Hindi lang nakadampot ka ng Bible, tapos nagbasa ka, kung ano yung pagkakaintindi mo, naging pastor ka na. So, ito po yun, no, kaya meron mga theology schools. No, kasi doon nila dinedevelop yung gift nila of teaching. Nalabanggit din po yan in 2 Timothy chapter 4, verses 1 to 2. Now, sa 1 Timothy 3:3, may karugtong pa po yun. Ano sinabi doon? Sa verse 3, he must not be, ayan, sabi dyan, not a drunkard, not violent, but gentle, not quarrelsome, and not a lover of money. So, isa-isay po natin. Kung unang sinabi, a pastor must not be a drunkard. Now, nung time po na to, no, diba, uso sa kanila yung pag-drink ng wine. So, dito sinasabi ni Paul na hindi sila pinagpapawalang uminom. Ang sabi dito, he must not be a drunkard. So, si Paul, hindi niya pinaprohibit yung drinking of wine or all alcohol. But, very specifically, nirule out na yung drunkenness o yung pagiging lasinggero. No? Siyempre, papayag ka ba yung pastor ko? Ganon? No? Makikita mo, hilo-hilo dyan sa daan, pang-sira yung daan, pag-ilalaki. So, hindi po siya magka-qualify. So, yung mga, those who are prone to the kind of addiction na makukuha nila sa alcohol, no, they are considered disqualified from being an elder or from being a pastor. So, sabi ka doon, pastors must not be violent. Okay, not violent and not quarrelsome. So, yung word na violent or quarrelsome dyan, term na pinagkuhaan nila dyan is yung word na blatant, which literally means a brawler. Okay? Or someone who is confrontational or hot-tempered na pag pumitik siya, no, gagalit na siya agad. Pag pumitik siya, maninigaw na siya agad. Ganyan. So, ito pa ay hindi magka-qualify as being a pastor. And also, not a
Lover of money.
okay, not a lover of money. So, ito pong phrase na to, diniscuss to ni Paul, specifically sa 1 Timothy chapter 6. Makikita niyo po yung idea or yung context nito sa chapter 6 verses 6 to 10. Na sinabi doon ni Paul na for the love of money is the root of all evil. Now, pinapoint out dito ni Paul na yung pastor, ang isang pastor ay hindi greedy.
Amen.
Okay? Kasi yung greed, it leads to all kinds of other sins, including yung abandonment of their faith. Okay? So yung tinutukoy dito, no, yung elders, sabi dyan, financial gain is not to be their motivation for service, but they must serve voluntarily. So this means that yung mga pastors or elders, they must serve voluntarily. So ibig sabihin ba, no, hindi natin sila pasasahurin? Hindi po. No? Hindi, ang tinutukoy dito ay yung financial gain, hindi dapat yun yung maging motivation nila ng pag-serve sa church. But, yung service alone, o yung mission alone, yung motivation nila. Yung financial service, yun ay responsibility na, yung financial support, yun ay responsibility ng church towards the pastor. Okay? So, but yung pastor, if he's going to be a pastor, and if he's going to lead a church, the financial gain must not be his sole motivation. Okay? So, ano pa? Makikita natin sa verse 4. Ano pa makikita niyo sa verse 4?
He must manage his own household.
Okay. He must manage his own household well with all dignity, keeping his children submissive. Na may karugtong pa yan. Lobag. Lobag din lang sabi. Ayan. Ang sabi doon sa verse 5. For if someone does not know how to manage his own household, how will he care for God's church? So yung main na qualification na tinutukoy dyan sa verses 4 and 5 is, no, a pastor must be able to manage his own household well. So, ito pong verse na to, it implies na ang isang pastor must show reasonable control sa kanyang pamamahay. O yung household na tinutukoy dyan is yung home. No, consist ng single wife, single husband, children, servants, and kung may extended family, kasama sila doon. So, yung isang pastor, no, dapat he is able to manage all the members na nasa household niya. Okay? So, So, a man seeking to be an elder, whatever his status, must first show na he can lead his own family. Kasi kaya yung nasabi sa verse 5, paano niya i-lead yung church kung yung sarili niyang pamilya, hindi niya kayang pangunahan. So, dito po sa mga verses na to, yung 4 and 5, specifically, in-include ni Paul yung concept ng dignity and obedient children. Okay? So, yung mga tatay with children at home na gustong mag-serve as overseers or as a pastor must be able to lead their own children well. Na dapat, karugtungan pagiging example ng pastor ay ganun din yung mga anak niya. Okay? So, in-emphasize doon na yung children, kung pupuntahan niyo yung Titus 1:6 na yung elders, dapat yung mga anak niya ay mga believers din. Okay? And they are literally faithful. So yung mga young children, kung young children pa yung mga anak niya, they may not be able to express their faith yet, but dapat yung mga anak ng pastor na show sila ng family faith nila in God. Okay? So, yung man na, yung isang tao na hindi, yung mga anak niya ay hindi nagpapakita ng discipline or nagpapakita ng rebellion, no, hindi siya magiging qualified as an elder or as a pastor. So, kasi yun nga, sabi sa verse 5, how can he claim na kaya niya supervise ng church kung yung sarili niyang pamilya ay hindi niya kaya i-guide and so, yun nga. Pero kung single yung pastor, yun, nagpa-practice dapat siya ng celibacy. Okay? And may leadership din siya within his household. Okay? So, verse 6. Ano naman sabi sa verse 6? Meron pa kayo po. Hanggang verse 7 natin makita yung mga qualifications ng pastor. Sa verse 6, sabi doon, he must not be a recent convert, or he may become puffed up with conceit and fall into the condemnation of the devil. So, sabi diyan, yung kasunod ng must, sabi, ang isang pastor, he must not be a recent convert. Ibig sabihin, yung mga new believers, hindi sila prepared to lead other believers. So, hindi lang tinutukoy dito yung kanilang spiritual knowledge, but it also speaks of their spiritual maturity. Siyempre, yung mga naunang naging believers, mas naka-experience na sila ng challenges in life and paano nila hinarap yun through their faith. Okay? So, yung si Paul, nagbibigay siya ng warning doon na yung giving too much authority ng too early or sa mga newly converts, no? It can, they are people na easily mag-fall into sin or maging proud sila. Sabi doon, diba, puffed up, no? They can easily become proud dahil, uy, kabago-bago ko na, hindi nila ka na. So, yung idea ng submission sa head of the church nawawala. Kasi proud siya sa sarili niya eh. Nakabago-bago lang niya. Naging leader siya within the church. So, a person who is new in their faith should not be given spiritual authority over others. Kasi sabi dyan, giving too much authority too early can result in arrogance. So, more mature believers are better equipped to teach and lead church. And yun nga, sila ay more experienced in dealing with temptations and stresses ng Christian life. And they are more aware of their shortcomings, so less likely magiging arrogant sila. So, kaya hindi po tayo pumipili ng church, ng pastor na bagong convert lang. No? Isang pastor must be someone who is experienced in Christian living na ina-apply yung kanyang faith. Okay? And sa last verse 7, ano doon? Anong sabi doon? He must be what? He must be well thought of by outsiders so that he may not fall into the into a snare of the devil. So sabi dyan sa phrase, ang pastor must be well thought of by outsiders. Okay? So anong ibig sabihin niya? So the pastor must be someone with good reputation outside and inside the church. So ito yung parang nagpo-conclude ng qualifications of a pastor. Nabanggit sa verse ko kanina, he must be above reproach. So ini-emphasize lang dito na yung pagiging above reproach, he must be someone with good reputation outside and inside the church. So kung makikita niyo po dun sa verses na tinignan natin, hindi nabanggit doon kung ilan. Yung ilang pastor ba dapat meron sa isang church. So, si Paul, he assumed na yung mga congregations, they would choose more than one as needed. Okay? Pero kung maliliit na congregation lang, no, one will be enough. So, kung mapapansin nyo kasi yung ibang church, ang dami nilang pastors, no? And mostly yung mga church na may maraming pastor, sila yung mga malalaking churches. So, sa pagpili ng church, ng pastor, nagdedepende po yan sa group, no, of people. Pero hindi sinabi dito ni Paul na kung isa lang ba dapat, dalawa lang ba dapat. No, but it will depend, no, or as needed. Okay? So, overall po, no, yung mga qualifications na nabanggit natin, the pastor must possess all the aforementioned qualities and characteristics to be qualified as church leader. No, yung word na must doon, mahalaga po yun. Kasi yun yung nag-i-indicate na may mag-fail siya na isa doon, hindi na siya qualified as church leader. Okay? So, yun po yung mga qualities na dapat natin tinitingnan sa isang church leader or sa isang church pastor. Now, ano naman ang mga basic responsibilities of a pastor? Ano dapat ang ginagawa ng pastor inside the church? So, buksan niyo po yung Bibles no in 2 Timothy 4:2. Nasa chapter 4 na tayo. 2 Timothy 4:2. What are the basic responsibilities of a pastor?
Preach the word.
Okay, sabi doon, preach the word. Okay lang daw. Be ready in season and out of season. Reprove, rebuke, and exhort with complete patience and teaching. So, tingnan natin yan isa-isa. So, sabi dito, preach the word. And there are several specific ways or 7 specific ways na kung paano mag-preach ng word ang isang pastor. So, unang sabi doon, preach the word in season. Okay? So, yung phrase na in season, no, nag-i-imply yun ng idea na the pastor must be ready when preaching was convenient. Or when they are supposed to preach, they must preach. No? So, these are, ito yung tinutukoy na mga friendly circumstances or yung mga safe times. Or yung within the church. Kung nasa church, the pastor must preach the word. Sabi doon, in season and out of season. Ano ibig sabihin ng out of season dyan? So, the pastor must be ready when preaching was inconvenient. So, ito po yung mga times na when preaching seems to be awkward, no, difficult, or even when preaching is resisted. Okay? So, a pastor must preach the word. And then, number 3 po, sabi doon, season and out of season, they must reprove. Ano ibig sabihin ng reprove? Ano ibig sabihin ng reprove? So, sabi po dyan, so, the pastor must provide correction. Kanino? To those who are in error. Na makikita nito yung references sa 1 Timothy 5, verse 20 na kapag may mali, merong nagkamali within the church, ang role ng pastor is to correct those who are in error through the word. Hindi dahil sa pamamagitan ng emosyon niya o yung personalidad niya, but he must provide correction to those who are in error through the Bible or through the use of the word. And then, reprove, rebuke. Okay? So, ibig sabihin dyan, no, the pastor must speak out against wrong. Halimbawa, meron ng maling nangyayari within the church or maling turo within the church. So, the pastor must speak out against wrong. So, medyo related yung reprove and rebuke. No, but yung reprove, very particular siya sa taong nagkamali. So, ito sa idea ng mali within the church. And then, number 5, sabi doon, reprove, rebuke, and exhort. Okay? Yung exhort dyan, nagbibigay yun ng idea na yung word na exhort doon ay from the term parakaleson na nag-involve, ang ibig sabihin is to support, comfort, or give aid. So, ito pong yung number 5 na specific ways how a pastor should preach the word. Dapat sa kanyang preaching, he must be able to encourage and urge believers. Then, number 6, ano na yung nangyari? Exhort with complete patience. No? Preach the word with complete patience. So the pastor must preach with patience. So doon sa mga nasa leadership, so especially when faced with opposition, ito ay medyo mahirap. This can be extremely difficult. Pero sabi ni Paul, no, yung patience, no, despite frustration, ay isang hallmark ng Christian faith. So, yung pastor must preach with patience. So, kahit nakakainis na, no, yung mga tao na dahil ayaw nilang makinig, pastor must preach with patience. And then, last way is to, sabi dyan, with complete patience and teaching. So, this involves yung instruction. No, in preaching the word, the pastor must give instructions on what to do and what not to do. So, number 1 basic responsibility of a pastor is he should preach the word. Okay? And then, so 1 Peter 5, verse 2. 1 Peter 5 verse 2, ano yung sinabi doon na responsibility ng pastor? The pastor must what?
Shepherd the flock.
Okay, shepherd the flock. Yeah, sabi dyan, shepherd the flock of God that is among you exercising oversight. Kasama ko yung shepherd and exercising oversight. So, yung first thing ng an elder should realize is that yung community of believers, no, sabi dyan, shepherd the flock of God. Now, in shepherding or in overseeing the flock, the pastor must realize that, meron tayong 3 things dito. The pastor must realize that the community of believers belongs to God. Saan makikita yung idea na yun? Sabi doon, shepherd the flock of God. No, merong possession. No, merong ano tawag dito sa English. Shepherd the flock of God. May object in possession. So yung flock na yon ay sa Panginoon. Na ang role lang ng pastor is mag-oversee or mag-supervise. Yun yan, mag-oversight, exercise oversight. So, ang elder, hindi niya pagmamayari yung flock. It is God who owns the flock. So, yung elder, magpo-provide lang siya ng leadership that is owned and loved by God. Okay? And then, letter B, in overseeing the flock, the pastor must realize that, sabi doon, in which the Holy Spirit has made the overseers to care for the church of God. Okay? Sabi dyan, ayan, ang role ng pastor is one of supervision. So, yung overseer, no, yung idea niyan is one who watches over and tends to the needs of the congregation. So, siya yung tumutulong na punan yung pangangailangan ng iglesia. So, it's a role na nagre-require na dapat ang isang pastor alam niya what is going on inside the church at sa kanyang mga members. Kasi paano niya mamimit yung pangangailangan nila kung hindi niya alam yung mga nangyayari sa iglesia at sa mga members. So, ang role ng pastor is one of supervision. So, dapat may mata, yung isang pastor ay may mata ng guiding and helping the congregation. And then, last po is, in overseeing the flock, the pastor must realize, ay hindi pa pala ito last, second to the last, the pastor must realize that his service must be done voluntarily. Makita niyo po nila sabi doon, not for shameful gain, but eagerly. So, yung role ng pagiging pastor, kung ikaw ay hindi, ang isang role ng isang pastor ay hindi para i-fulfill yung expectation sa kanya ng others. No? But, ang Panginoon nagre-require siya ng mga pastors who wants to be a pastor. No? Eagerly and voluntarily, they want to be a pastor. Kaya yung pastor calling siya eh. No? Hindi yan basta-basta na. Hindi yan tulakan. Ikaw, magpastor ka. Ganyan. So, one must be voluntary kapag gusto niyang i-take yung office ng isang pastor. So, yung person na pinorse into leadership or spiritual leadership, they cannot truly serve God. Kasi hindi nila intent na maging ganun eh. So, nahihirapan lang siya. And magsasuffer din yung church kapag ang pinili yung pastor ay someone na pinilit ng pastor. No, kaya nga sa mga Bible schools may mga napapalabas. No, may mga napapauwi. Si baka yun yung mga tao na pinilit lang mag-pastor. And last po, sabi sa last part ng verse, no, not domineering over those in your church, but being examples to the flock. So, a pastor must be eager to serve for the sake of that mission alone. Nabanggit din sa mga qualities kanina. So, yung mga pastors, they cannot be motivated by money, power, or control. Okay? So, ito po ay para i-prevent yung church leaders from being prone sa mga dishonesty or embezzlement or manipulation. Okay? So, yan po yung tinutukoy dito. So, the two basic responsibilities of a pastor is to preach the word and to shepherd the flock. Sa mga qualities, balikan natin yung mga qualities for the sake of those who just arrived. No? Pinag-aaralan po natin yung qualities of a pastor, no, na kapag pipili po ng isang pastor, di ba church ang nagko-call ng pastor. Pinag-training naman natin. A pastor must be above reproach or someone with good reputation, husband of one wife. No, kaya parang, yun, kapag isang pastor dapat mayroong loyalty within his wife, sober-minded or level-headed, self-controlled, na possess ng fruits of the Spirit, respectable and hospitable, able to teach, not a drunkard, not violent and quarrelsome, well-managed his own household, and not a recent convert. So, makikita niyo po yung ideas na ito sa 1 Timothy chapter 3, verses 2 to 7. No, pwede niyo po yung pag-aralan isa-isa doon sa verses na nabanggit. So, 1 Timothy 3, 2 to 7 po natin yan makikita. And then, no, there are two basic responsibilities ng isang pastor. Number one is to preach the word. Kailan? When it is convenient, when it is not convenient. Mag-preach siya ng word to those who are in error. Preach the word against something wrong. Preach the word to encourage and urge. Preach the word with patience. And preach the word to provide instructions. And then, preach the word a shepherd. No? Second responsibility of a pastor is to shepherd and oversight the church, considering that, dapat ito yung mga considerations ng isang pastor in shepherding the flock. Considering that the church belongs to God, no? Ang role niya is to supervise, his service is voluntary, and his eagerness to serve is for the sake of the mission alone. So, very timely itong lesson natin, lalo na tayo ngayon ay nagpe-pray ng isang pastor within the church. So, meron na tayong basihan. Paano ba tayo dapat magpo-call ng isang pastor? So, a pastor must know these responsibilities and possess all the qualifications and characteristics na nabanggit sa 1 Timothy chapter 3, verses 2 to 7. Now, these are the questions to ponder for our lesson. Medyo magta-time na din. No, 9:55. So, siguro sagutan natin ng isa. After having learned the office and duties of a pastor, anong advantages that our church can benefit from his leadership? Anong advantage kung merong leader sa isang church? Merong pastor sa isang church? Ha? Merong unity. O kasi meron lang nag-supervise sa inyo, meron ng isang nag-decide. Wala nang kanya-kanyang ayaw lang yan, ayaw yan. Lalo na pag walang pastor, walang ultimate na nagde-decide. Okay? Ano pa? Ha? May taga-correct. Meron? O merong order within the church. Kasi nga, merong nagli-lead na eh. No, hindi kagaya ng pag walang pastor, medyo struggle talaga. Medyo nagsishake talaga yung church kapag walang pastor. Pero, hindi ibig sabihin no, na masisira yung church kapag walang pastor. Kasi meron tayong head of the church. No? Ang pastor ay nag-over sila. Kaya, yung church natin ngayon, baka nagtataka kayo, bakit yan tumatagal pa yung church natin? Wala tayong pastor. Because we have the head of the church. And that is the Lord Jesus Christ. Pero, tungkulin natin as a local church na mag-call ng isang pastor. For us, hindi lang para sa personally, but for the local church, for the benefit of the local church. So, dito po nag-end yung lesson natin, and I hope na magkaroon tayo ng malinaw na ideas about qualities and responsibilities of a church pastor. Next Sunday po, pag-aaralan naman natin yung Office of the Deacon. Kasi isa lang yung deacon natin ngayon, baka time na mag-full tayo ng katulong niya. Kasi nahihirapan na siya. Lalo wala tayong pastor. Okay? Hindi natin palitan yan. Yan. Marami yung pinagdaanan yan. Diyan na yan. Okay? So, kung may mga questions po kayo or clarifications or tanong, wala ko si pastor nila. Pwede po siya sumagot. So, or pwede niyo pong ilista, no, na ipasa niyo po kayo dito ang pag-aaral namin para masagot namin. Okay? So, to end po our Sunday school, let us request ni Kung Ira to pray for our Sunday school and for our Sunday school office. Thank you po. Good morning.
Kaya, tayo po ay manalangin ng oras sa to. Salamat po ang akong Diyos sa kabutihan niyo at yung katakilaan na sa inyong pagtuturo sa amin sa inyong pagpapagturo. At nawa Panginoon, sa aming pagsamba ngayon, sa aming pagbibigayan, tanggapin niyo po aming mga handog, Panginoon, na gamitin niyo ang bawat na naiipon ng salati dito sa patuloy na ikalalawi pa na yung pangalan sa lupang ito. At nawa rin, Panginoon, ay pagpalaan niyo po nawa ang aming susunod na gawain, Panginoon, sa aming pagsamba. Pagpalaan niyo po ang bawat isa at kayo patuloy na mag-ingat sa gitna ng mainit na panahon. Dalangin sa amat dalangin sa pangalan ni Jesus. Amen.